Okay, well, thank you very much. Saturday ngayon po. Ito, si Nico Fabian. Dito po sa Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico. Welcome po sa inyong lahat. And Saturday, February 15 na tayo. Tuloy pa rin ang hot issues dyan sa Pilipinas. And this time around, we are going to talk about ano talaga ang impeachment, ano talaga ang mga updates tungkol sa sabihin natin ang upcoming midterm election po dyan sa Pilipinas, and it is scheduled on May 12. May 12 po. May 12. And yes, once again, I would like to say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. In Malay, we say it, salamat pagi, salamat patang, and salamat malam. Ito po si Nico Fabian, Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico. Okay, umpisa na tayo po ang programa natin for today, February 14, and to start with, I would like to show or share with you itong very important news po sa Pilipinas. Important po dahil it is related to this election, midterm election in the Philippines. And I was made to understand that former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, and I saw it also, joke about killing 15 senators to ensure the victory of Partido Demokratiko Pilipino, Lakas ng Bayan Senatorial, slate during the PDP Laban's proclamation rally last Thursday po. Dahil itong joke na ito po, may mga opposition po, they were saying, ops, below the belt yun, ops, mali yun, and pwede tayo file a criminal case against former President Rodrigo Duterte for making that statement. Although it is jokingly, very obvious talaga, it was jokingly ang statement niya of killing 15 senators para mayroon na bakante mga kandidato ng Philippine Laban. Pero some took it seriously and say up, so hindi yan pwede. Kagaya ni Assistant Majority Leader, who is also the Tigong Party List Representative, si Jude Asidre po. Tingnan natin po kung ma-prosper ba yun ang ano ninyo. Ang so-called plan to file a case against former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. Shoutout muna tayo kay Roy Tanagon. He's also watching my program today. Good morning to you, Roy. And dumagyete yata si Roy, no? Dumagyete yata si Roy. So, good morning to you, and God bless you. God bless your wife. God bless your family, and your relatives, and everybody back home there sa Dumaguete, sa Philippines, no? Thank you for watching. Okay, former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte joked about killing 15 senators to ensure the victory of PDP Laban's during the proclamation rally last Thursday. Now there are many of them, sabi ni Duterte. What shall we do? Let's just kill incumbent senators so there will be vacancies. If we can kill 15 senators, we can all get in. That would be a pity, though, but they are very annoying. Not all of them, Duterte said. The former president went further and jokingly said the only way to do it is to use a bomb. Use a bomb. Biro mo, So, Duterte state, nag-present na siya po ang candidates ng PDP Laban last Thursday, and ready na sila po for this, sabihin natin, ang midterm election. And I was also made to understand that senators who feel threatened by the joke made by Duterte may file a case against him. A former president of the Integrated Bar of the Philippines said yesterday. While the National Bureau of Investigation can initiate probe over Duterte's remarks, former IBP President Domingo Cayosa said it is important for the offended party to testify on the impeachment or on the impact of the statement. This is a public crime. The state can prosecute this, but they need the offended party to testify that I was threatened by that, he said on an interview dyan sa Manila. Senators can file cases if they feel particularly referred by the statement. Of course, whether or not you get a conviction will depend on the appreciation evidence and what kind of evidence will be presented by both parties. Ganon yan po. Tingnan natin. Instead mag-focus na lang kayo po, mga supporters ng ibang partido, na focus na lang kayo. Advocate ang mga plataforma ng mga kandidato ninyo, ng partido ninyo po, no? Because this is another wasting time na naman ito po. Pero, depende yan sa inyo. Kayo nang bahala. Okay, going through with the news, in a written message flash on the screen during the proclamation rally, si Vice President Sara Duterte enjoined the public to vote for the re-electionist senators as well as for neophyte aspiring senatorial candidates under the PDP Laban. Ibig sabihin po, si Vice President Sara is supporting and also endorsing ang mga kandidato ng PDP Laban. Together with our fellow men who continue to dream of a better future, I extend my gratitude to all of you for striving to pave way for a genuine and meaningful change, she said, addressing the PDP senatorial slate. Thank you for accepting the call of the public service despite the challenges that come with it, sabi ni Sara. She said she trusts the power of the Filipino voting public in changing the current situation of the country by voting the truly deserving candidates who will serve the nation with honesty and perseverance. Duterte says she is praying for the PDP Laban senatorial candidates' success in their advocacies for the sake of our communities and our fellow Filipinos. Yan po. Yan po. Okay. This time around, I want to share with you kung sino-sino po ang mga kandidato ng PDP Laban. And of course, let us also read the names of the senatorial candidates of Alyansa para sa Bagong Pilipinas under the leadership of the incumbent President of the Philippines, si President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. po. Okay, to start with, ang mga senatorial candidates for PDP Laban, for PDP Laban, this includes, Morning Brad, ¿qué tal dito you hard ayer? Okay din, sabi ni Roy Tanagon. Okay, let's move on. Itong mga senatorial candidates ng PDP Laban are as follows. Senator Ronald De La Rosa, Senator Christopher Go, Congressman Rodante Marcoleta, Attorney Jesus Hinlo Jr., Attorney Raul Lambino, Attorney Jimmy Bondoc, Hector Philip Salvador, and Pastor Apollo Quiboloy. Yon po ang kandidato for senator ng PDP Laban. Again, we have Senator De La Rosa, Senator Go, Congressman Marcoleta, Attorney Hilno Jr., Attorney Lambino, Attorney Bondoc, Hector Philip Salvador, and Apollo Quiboloy. Yan po ang kandidato. Now, going to the PBBM senatorial candidates or ang alyansa para sa Bagong Pilipinas, ito po ang mga kandidato ni Marcos. Former Senator Panfilo Lacson, Benhar Abalos, Erby Binay, Camille Villar, Pia Cayetano, Amy Marcos. Ito si Amy, I thought that she is independent, no? But during the opening rally, campaign rally ng PBBM senatorial candidates, nandyan din po si Senator Amy Marcos. Okay, the other candidates include Lito Lapid, Erwin Tulfo, Francis Tolentino, Manny Pacquiao, Vicente Soto, and Ramon Bong Revilla. Once again, Lacson, Abalos, Binay, Villar, Cayetano, Marcos Amy, Lito Lapid, Erwin Tulfo, Francis Tolentino, Manny Pacquiao, Vicente Soto, and Ramon Bong Revilla. Ito po. Yun po ang mga kandidato. Huwag natin kalimutan po ang mga kandidato. Because it is your right to choose. Pagdating ang polling day natin sa May 12 po. Sa May 12. Okay. To start with itong programa natin po. After reading the names of the candidates, at least now you already know who are the candidates. Now, let's talk about... kasi controversial talaga ito po, no? Not really controversial, but hot issue ito po. Si former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. Rodrigo Roa Duterte po. And, yes, sino ba si Rodrigo Roa Duterte? Ano ba ang legacy ni former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte? Siguro po, it's about time to remind you, no? Inform you again na may legacy ba na iwan na si Digong, very fondly called by many as Digong, no? Tatay Digong. Ano ang legacy niya? Legacy niya po. So, let's listen to Professor Malu Tigia. She is talking about the legacy of former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte during an interview. Let's listen to this po. Hold on. Let's listen to this.
Kay Duterte.
Hold on. Sandali.
Kay Duterte, ibig kong sabihin
Ito po. Let's listen to this. Ang legasya ni Digong Duterte.
Kay Duterte, yung si Presidente Duterte, sa tingin ko lahat ng ayaw kay President Duterte, Rodrigo Duterte, lahat na naging kaaway niya, lahat na business interest na question niya, lahat yan nagsama-sama ngayon ng puwersa para totally reject ang isang Duterte. Makikita naman natin, 6 na taon na pinaghirapan niya ng paninilbihan sa bayan. Anong ibig kong sabihin pinaghirapan? Yung frontline services na ayos. Example, mahaba na ang lisensya, mahaba na ang pahina ng passport, sinorten niya yung requirement ng birth certificate para sa first time na nagtatrabaho. So marami siyang ginawa apart from yung usapan sa droga at saka sa pag-solba with finality. Yung 50 at that time, it was 53 years of the CPP, NPA, NDF. So pag pinagsama mo to, makikita mo talagang payback ang nangyayari ngayon. At sinasama yung anak. Pati yung build maganda eh. Oo, pati yan. Yung infrastructure development, maganda ang plano. Kaya nga nung tumakbo yung anak, lahat tayo nag-aambisyon dun sa continuity. Na matuloy, yung build. Kasi yun ang kailangan natin. Imaginein mo 5% of GDP was used for public infrastructure. Ngayon, wala na yan. So, mahalagang parte ng kasaysayan natin, yung nagawa ni Duterte. Yun nga lang, si Duterte outlier. Kampanya, kailangan mo ng pondo. Hindi siya humingi ng pondo dun sa mga nandito sa Metro Manila, sa NCR. Ang tumulong sa kanya, Mindanao. Late siya sa ballgame. Hindi siya nag-rely on political world leaders. Dadalawa lang ang gobernadora na sumuporta sa kanya. So talagang tinapon niya yung playbook, pero nanalo. Ngayon, nakikita natin, parang gusto ng lahat na naisatabi na tahimik ng 6 na taon, balikan siya. At ito na nga, sa Quadcom, di ba, lumabas siya, sa Senado, lumabas siya. Ang anak niya, dahil isang Duterte, sa simula simula pa lang, gusto nang alsin.
Bakit ayaw ng mga movers and shakers dito sa national ang matandang Duterte?
Kasi iba siya. Hindi siya katulad nila.
Na hindi sa yumuko, hindi sa lumuhod?
Yes,
Ganun ba?
yes. Oo, hindi nang hingi, hindi walang...
So, totoo pala yung parang, Bisaya ka eh.
Hindi, pero actually, masakit nga yan eh. Dahil nakita mo naman yung pagbabago. Ano ba ang hahanapin mo? Kahit na yung crisis na ginawa ng Mauti, na-handle niya ng tama eh. Kung sa panahon ngayon, ewan ko, baka nagkaubos-ubos na yung lahat doon, di ba?
Kahit sa COVID. Wala
Sa
namang
COVID, wala
perfectong leader sa COVID eh. Pero he made the hard decisions. Ang importante sa leader kasi you make the decision.
Yeah.
You don't allow anybody
Nag-i-decide.
else. Yeah. At siya ang sisisihin. Consistent siya. Doon sa Senado, sinabi niya, tungkol sa war on drugs, ako sisihin nyo, wag yung mga tao ko.
The buck stops at me.
That's right.
Ma'am, pwede ba nating brutal and frank aminin na ang hypocrisy ay nananaig dahil sa mga politiko at sa oligarkiya?
Oo. Ever since naman yan ang problema ng Pilipinas eh. Yung uri ng politiko natin at uri ng oligarkiya na may control sa politiko. Kung titingnan nyo, sa bawat eleksyon, ang oligarkiya napakahalaga, lalo na pagdating sa fund donors. No? Napaka-importante yan. Merong matitinong oligarkiya at merong oligarkiya na sabihin na natin kailangan ma-return on investment ang ginastos sa iyo.
Yun ang problema, no? Kasi sira yung spirit ng true leadership.
Kaya yung issue na dapat may public finance kampanya, parating sinasabi nun. Kasi doon sa ibang bansa, may state funding. Pero wala tayong political party eh. Yung political party natin, nakre-create, nawawala tuwing eleksyon.
Multi-party system tayo. Hindi tulad ng ibang bansa, dalawa lang.
Oo, mas maganda nung dalawa kasi
kontrolado mo lahat eh.
Oo, tapos may training. Kung hindi ka nasa posisyon, yung hindi sa posisyon, para siyang shadow government na natututo.
Okay, malalim.
Okay, yun po ang statement ng way of thinking ni Professor Malu. Tigia. Shoutout muna tayo kay Conrado Pareng. Media man din ito. Si Conrado, si Pareng ko. Dyan sa Pilipinas. And if I'm not mistaken, is now in Cavite. No? In Cavite. So, kumusta kayo Pareng? ¿Qué tal tú? Ojalá buenamente dito sa salud. And you're enjoying life. No? Enjoying life. And nasa media pa ba si Pareng? Are you still connected with the media diyan sa Zamboanga? And keep the good work that you're doing sa media po as a responsible media man. And of course, shout out din. I would like to shout out also to my friend here in Sabah, si Rex Paclar, who is also watching my program this morning. And yes, almost all my programs, he's a very religious follower sa programa ko po, si Rex Paclar. Dahil po itong programa, this program is meant for the Filipino communities dito po sa Sabah so that they will be able to be updated of what is happening dyan sa Pilipinas. Itong mga Filipino kababayan natin po dito sa Sabah and also sa ibang parte, other states in Malaysia. Dito lang po, Nick Talk, Real Talk with Nico. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on. So, when we talk about legacy, for me, I strongly believe na may naiwan legacy si former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. In fact, until now, his popularity is still high. His popularity is still high, and still many Filipinos still listen to him, not only adoring him, but also listen to him. And nakikita mga Filipinos po, na every time he opens his mouth, may puntos talaga po. And very down to earth a leader ito si Digong, a former president of the Philippines, si Rodrigo Roa Duterte. When he talks, very practical, logic, everything, no? And may mga puntos talaga po si former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte whenever he opens his mouth. Okay, sige lang. Now, si Professor Malu mentioned about COVID, about drugs, about different projects carried out by the former president. He's also talking about continuity. Continuity. Now, let's listen. A portion of the speech of incumbent President incumbent President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos during when they jumpstart itong official campaign, last February 11 yata yun, 12. He mentioned also about COVID, about drugs, war on drugs, blah blah blah. Let's listen to our President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos. Hold on, Okay, let's listen.
Ang may bahid ng dugo.
And he is talking about or introducing ang kandidato nila, the 12 candidates of the Marcos team po, ang Alyansa para sa Bagong Pilipinas.
Wala sa kanila ang may bahid ng dugo dahil sa tukhang. Wala sa kanilang kasabwat sa pagpulsa ng sako-sakong pera, pinagsamantalaan ang krisis ng pandemya, pinabayaan ang ating mga kababayan na magkasakit at mamatay. Wala po sa kanila ang tilang sakristan ng isang bulaang propeta na nasasakdal dahil sa pagyurak sa ating kabataan at sa ating kababaihan. Wala sa kanila ang tagataguyod ng pugad ng krimen. Wala sa kanila ang mga pumapalakpak sa China at natutuwa pa kapag tayo ay binobomba ng tubig. Tayo ba ay papayag na babalik sa panahon gusto ng kung kailan gusto ng ating mga liderato maging probinsya tayo ng China? Babalik ba tayo sa nakaraan na ibinubugaw ang ating bayan bilang isang sugalan ng mga dayuhan?
Okay, yun po ang statement, ang mensahe ni Bongbong Marcos, President Bongbong Marcos during the launching of the campaign rally nila po, ng partido nila. So, palagay ninyo, okay ba yun? Mayroon ba yun mga corruption, ang COVID incident and droga po? Totoo ba yun sinasabi ni President Bongbong Marcos? Apparently, based on the news published in the Philippines, dyan sa mainstream media at saka dito po sa social media platform, karamihan ng mga tao po, or hindi naman karamihan, siguro majority or most of the Filipinos or many Filipinos, they disagree ang statement ni Bongbong Marcos. So, okay, from Bongbong Marcos, let's go back to Digong. Digong. A portion of the speech din ni former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte po. Let's listen to this. Although some of you maybe already heard this thing, but replay lang tayo po. Replay lang tayo. Sandali.
As of now, hindi, not hatred or anger. Pero I could sense, andyan ako sa napipika na ang tao. Kaya yung sentimento ng tao, papasok yan sa utak nila habang nagpuputo, patay. Haros tayo lahat, translate. Partido ng Pilipino. Totoo yan. Yung ng tao ngayon, ang tao, hindi naman sa galit. I don't know if it's, I would not want to raise it to the level of anger or hate. But sigurado ako na ang Pilipino napipika na. either failed promises or whatever. Kaya pagdating ng, kung nasa isip pa yan ng Pilipino, malas na, wala, swerte natin. Ubos, panalo, kayong lahat. Pati si Atty. Torrio na hindi kandidato. Ilagay nila yung pangalan mo. Torrion is a very good lawyer. Number one. Kita mo si Pastor nakakulong pa ngayon. Ano yan there's more to it than meets the eye. Pagka gano'n na simple na kaso tapos bailable, hindi naman makabail, hanapan ng ano yan, sabi kaya sadya yan. So, wala tayong depende na yan sa abogado niya kung nakakabisita ba? Magbisita ako. Magbisita ako kay Pastor. So, okay, yun na.
Mabuhay ang former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte!
Mabuhay ang PDP!
Mabuhay ang PDP! Mabuhay ang Duterte candidates!
Okay, well, yan po ang a portion of the speech of Duterte, no? Si Digong, the former president. And from Professor Malu, Professor Malu, punta din tayo sa isa pang professor po who also touch on the issue itong election natin po. And I am referring to Professor Ana Malindog-Uy. Sana yan po. Nandito po. Let's listen. Brief lang ito, but kayo na bahala po ang reaction ninyo, ang mga comments ninyo after listening to the statement of Professor Ana Malindog-Uy. Let's listen to this.
Hindi ko maintindihan sa
Hold on.
proclamation na
Tungkol sa proclamation ng campaign rally between the Marcos team and Duterte team. Eto po, let's listen.
hindi ko maintindihan sa proclamation rally na yan eh. Bakit ganyan ang mga lumabas sa bibig ng presidente? Una, yung South China Sea. Ang optics is, we are anti-China, they are pro-China. Which is wrong. Which is a very unbecoming of a president for me as far as I'm concerned, because that is a very sensitive issue. The South China Sea, you don't play with it and you don't manipulate the issue just for the sake na meron ka mga kandidato na pinopromote, kasi pwede mo namang gawing iba yun eh. Pwede mong gawa ng paraan na mag-promote mo pa rin sila not in the sense. Ngayon, there's also a distinction. Kami ang hindi bumibili ng suka sa tindahan, so we are elite, we're good and all that. Sila, parang bumili lang ng suka, sila ay mababang uri sa amin. At wala silang class, wala silang K. Which is also not true. Kasi kung titignan mo rin yung ibang mga kumakandidato, they also have their credentials, they also have their track record, they're very intelligent people. Well, many of them, I would not say all, but I would presume, mga tulad ni Kong Marcoleta, very smart and intelligent people. They have their, track record. So why would you possibly coin them as parang bumili lang ng suka? Diba? Parang gano'n. Bakit? Si Pastor Kibuliban, kumakandidato, parang bumili lang ng suka? Parang, my God! Yeah, maybe hindi siya gano'n kayaman tulad ni Bongbong Marcos or ng mga senador na mga whoever na sumatakbo sa kanyang slate. But that doesn't mean na wala siyang dignidad or mababang uri siyang tao. Diba? Ganun ang distinction ng optics eh. Kung i-content, a-analyze mo siya. Pero so sa akin parang nato-turn off ako, nagkaroon ang kanyang, parang nakaka-turn off eh. Kasi pwede mo namang gawan ng ibang optics yan eh.
Pero ganyan ang kanyang nasabi doon sa kanilang proclamation rally na parang, Diyos ko Lord,
Yes, Prof.
Mr. President, i-fire mo kaya kung sinong gumawa ng speech mo. Kung may gumawa ng speech mo, malay ko ba kung sa'yo galing yan, di ba?
Yes, Prof. Ano?
Okay, yon ng mga opinion, statement ni Professor Ana. So from Professor Ana, let's go to Attorney Panelo po regarding itong issue, rally ng dalawang partido po, no? Let's, saan na yun? Si Attorney Panelo. Attorney Panelo, saan na yan? 139. Okay, let's listen to this po. Let's listen to this. Sandali.
50,000 views ang Napakatindi nito. Mga kababayan, malamang marami na naman ang mga ngagba ang mag-iyakan. Batay po ito sa pinakahuling update. Nagkaroon lamang ng halos 60,000 views ang alyansa para sa bagong Pilipinas ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos sa kanilang proclamation rally sa parteng Visayas noong February 13. Samantala sa parehong araw nakakuha naman ng 1.5 million views ang PDP Laban Proclamation rally na pinangungunahan ni dating President Rodrigo Duterte. Kaya sa parehong proclamation ng magkalabang partido masasabi natin na talo na agad ang Team Ngagba pagdating sa parteng Kabisayaan. Samantala mga tumatakbong pagkasenador na kakampi ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos binira ang mga ito ni Attorney Panelo kung saan lantarang sinabi ni Attorney Panelo na ang mga ito raw ay lahat mga dating anti-Marcos, subalit bigla umanong nagkandara pa ang mga ito dahil
Pag isusuriin mo yung mga kandidato dyan, puro mga anti-Marcos dati yan eh. Bigla nagkandara pa kasi in power siya. O di ba, merong isa dyan, nagkakandara pa, na umalis, kuno, sa administrasyon. Kapatid niya, wala nang ginawa, hindi banata ng administrasyon. At nilalarawan niya na siya'y alay ng mga Duterte, Inday. O ano nga sinasabi niya. Pero nagkakandara pa siya na magkaroon ng proclamation sa isa. O, taas din ang kamay. Pero
Okay, yan po. Yan po ang statement din ni Attorney Salvador Panelo. From Panelo, let's go to the mayor of Davao, si Baste Duterte. Ano naman masasabi ni Baste Duterte regarding itong election fever dyan sa Pilipinas? At saka mensahe niya para sa mga PDP, PDP members nila during the official launching of their campaign, proclamation campaign, no? Hold on, nandito po si Mayor Baste.
Ngayon, ang buhay at kinabukasan ng mga Pilipino ay nalalagay na naman sa alanganin. Habang nagsusumikap tayong humakbang patungo sa isang maunlad na bukas, ay pilit naman tayong hinihila pabalik ng administrasyong ni Ferdinand Marcos Jr. sa isang mapang-abuso at mapagmalabis na pamahalaan. Minsan na nating naipakita at napatunayan na kaya nating ayusin ang sistema ng ating pamahalaan sa pamumuno ni Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte. Pinatunayan natin na kaya nating magsilbi sa bayan na may disiplina, sa sarili, walang kalapisan at walang pang-aabuso lalo na sa pera ng taong bayan. Huwag nating sayangin ang mandato na ibinigay sa atin ng ating mga kababayan. Huwag nating sayangin ang mga buhay na itinaya ng ating mga kapwa Pilipino, lalo na ng mga pulis at sundalo, para lamang maipaglaban ang kapayapaan at kalayaan ng ating bansa. Bilang mga lingkod bayan, tungkulin nating ibigay sa mga Pilipino ang buhay na masagana, bansang mapayapa at lahing maipagmamalaki sa buong mundo. Bilang mga tunay na kasapi ng PDP at boses ng mga Pilipino, patuloy tayong makikilahok, magsasalita at makikipaglaban. Mga kapatid,
Nagsisimula pa lamang tayo. Mahirap at mapanganib man ang landas na ating tatahakin, hindi ito mapapawi ang nagliliyab nating mga damdamin para sa isang mapayapa at maunlad na bansa. Hindi tayo uurong, patuloy tayong haakbang para sa karangalan ng mga Pilipino at ng buong Pilipinas. Walang makakapigil sa atin kapag tayo ay magkakaisa at buong puso mag-aalay ng ating buhay para sa kinabukasan ng ating pinakamamahal na bayan. Ipaglaban natin ang kinabukasan ng mga kabataan. Ipaglaban natin ang kapayapaan. Ipaglaban natin ang malinis, tapat at makatao na pamahalaan. Ipaglaban natin ang ating bayan. Mabuhay ang PDP!
Okay, yan po si Mayor Baste Duterte from Davao. Okay, yun na po ang mga issues natin tungkol sa election, political election activities dyan sa Pilipinas. And for my last, sabihin natin itong video clip that I want to share with you, let's talk about the impeachment of VP Sara Duterte. Ang mga technicalities po, mga technicalities. And it has never been mentioned, no? Since the filing, submission of the impeachment complaint dyan sa Speaker, si Speaker Martin Romualdez, hanggang ngayon po wala. But yesterday, may interview dyan sa Manila, si Karen Davila, sa isang justice po. And the justice explained po ang some issues, technical issues po regarding ang impeachment ni VP Sara Duterte. Let's listen to this carefully po. No? Let's listen to this carefully. This will be my last video clip for today's episode. Sandali po.
This is number one. It
Sandali.
is
Okay. Ano tayo ito? We make it close up para makita talaga tayo po, no? Sandali. Okay. Alright. Sandali. I-close up natin.
What you are saying, Justice, is number one. It is important for the Senate to already take jurisdiction of the impeachment that was sent to the Senate. And are you saying, sir, that as of today, the Senate technically still has not taken jurisdiction over the impeachment that was transmitted to the Senate?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's not complete. It's not clear. Although Senate President Escudero has announced that they have received and therefore it has been filed. But to me, they should signal that they have received it as an impeachment tribunal. And the way to do this, not necessarily na silang lahat mag-oath, at least the presiding officer should all take his oath and say that we have, as a tribunal, as my presiding officer of tribunal, received the complaint that has been filed and inform the House of the fact that it is received and tell the House to name their prosecutors. Then the trial proper can follow 5 months later.
Okay. So, how do you describe the Senate President's actions? Why do you think has he not taken his oath yet? I'm curious, if we go back to recent history, when it came to Erap's impeachment, to Corona's impeachment, did the presiding officer immediately take his oath and acquired jurisdiction of the impeachment?
No, but I don't think in that case there was an intervening Congress. That is the problem now.
Tuloy-tuloy eh.
Mag-intervene yung shift of the 19th to 20th Congress. Mawawala yung signatories eh. Yung 215 members of the House will no longer be their
Okay.
20th Congress.
So this is very interesting. Now, Justice, let's say the Senate President, si Cheese, takes his oath on June 2. Hypothetically, June 2. So meron pang 6 session days. That's still the 19th Congress. May 19th Congress pa rin ba yun sa lower house?
Yes.
So,
Pwede pa.
pa sila. Pwede pa.
Pwede pa.
Pwede pa. So,
As long
not
as
all is
within the
lost.
19th Congress.
Oo. So, June 2, once Congress resumes,
Next June.
19th pa rin yun. The first thing that the Senate President has to do is
Yeah.
take his oath as the
Yeah.
presiding officer.
Yes. Pwede pa yun as long as he does it within the 19th Congress na buhay pa yung mga 215 congressmen
Oo.
na in the articles.
Okay, what will happen if, let's say, the Senate President does not acquire jurisdiction within the 19th Congress? Hindi siya nag-oath.
Okay.
There's still the Senate in June 2. 6 session days, tinatapos nila yung mga batas, legislation. Tapos yan, they're only handling preliminary matters, discussion of the rules. Sabi niya ganun eh. Or can you discuss the rules without taking an oath? Or you need to take an oath before discussing the rules?
They can discuss the rules, but when they discuss the rules, they are discussing it as not as an impeachment tribunal, not a lawmaking body, because that's part of their lawmaking to adopt rules. So, hindi maliwanag na yung action na yun ay tantamount to acquiring jurisdiction over the complaint. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Wow. All right. So if the Senate President only takes his oath in the 20th Congress after June 13,
Yes.
does that mean invalid na ang impeachment na ipinasa sa Senado?
Okay, by that time, Karen, the House membership will have changed.
Yeah.
So all those who signed the articles will have to be changed also. So you'll have to file new articles, and that is not allowed within 1 year. You cannot file more than one impeachment complaint within 1 year against the same official. That is the problem.
I don't think this is discussed at all. I mean, you are really shedding light on the technicalities of this impeachment, because that's never been asked to the Senate President when he would take his oath. If the Senate has acquired jurisdiction, that's never been tackled. So technically speaking, if the Senate does not act, if the presiding officer, which is the Senate President, does not act on this on the 19th Congress, this impeachment could be invalid. It could be thrown out.
Yes, that is the danger. That's my opinion, but it is the Supreme Court that will be the final judge of that.
Oo. Because if he doesn't take his oath, I would assume the camp of the Vice President will take this to the Supreme Court.
Probably, or any citizen.
I would do that if I were a Sara Duterte supporter or part of the team, the legal team, and an oath wasn't taken. I would argue with the Supreme Court that they didn't acquire jurisdiction.
Yes, that will be the possibilities. And that's why I said to forestall that, Senate President can simply take his oath now. After all, he's been telling his colleagues to stop talking about
Yes.
it because he might prejudge. So he should, he can, if he likes, already take his oath and start the ball rolling, because that's what the Constitution says. Start the ball rolling.
Oo.
Ayun po.
Okay, that's it. Ang technical issues sa impeachment po. And yes, shout out tayo kay Mary Lou Pintocho. Good morning everyone, sabi niya. Yes, good morning to you also. Salamat pagi. Everything is okay dyan sa Kuala Lumpur, no? Si Mary. So, enjoy. Kumusta ang ninyo? Valentine's Day ninyo dyan sa KL yesterday. Better half ko yan po. And siguro enjoy siya sa mga anak namin dyan sa KL. Okay, so yun po ang latest updates na mayroon tayo po tungkol sa election dyan sa Pilipinas. And of course, ang latest din po sa impeachment na complaint against VP Sara Duterte. So hanggang dito na lang po ang programa natin. I wish all of you a happy weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Huwag natin kalimutan ang Sunday obligation natin bukas. And with this, I would like to say thank you very much for making me a part of your day today. Malaysia, Sabah, the Philippines. God bless us all. And see you tomorrow. Bye.